Speedway Anywhere
on Blog Talk Radio
/Speedway Anywhere with your crew chief, Q.
Come on, man. Speedway Anywhere time. Monday edition. Where checkered past is a good thing. Speedway Anywhere at youtube.com/Speedway Anywhere. I'm your host, Q, Quentin. And is the power still on? St. Louis just Gateway it just never ceases to amaze me about the infrastructure. St. Louis, Gateway Speedway, or what could be one of my favorite racetracks if it had infrastructure. Now, what's that going to take? The Cup Series keeps selling the damn place out at 60,000 people. But apparently they can't replace the frickin' wiring. They can't get a decent power supply in there. But the people keep on coming. Traffic sucks. But hey, infrastructure and reliable brakes on the next gen car. That's a huge one. This wasn't the first time basic electricity has failed there. But, Jesus, apparently the fiber optic, the shit, did I say the word? Going around the speedway was not communicating properly. The power went out. The scoring loops went out. But, yeah, the whole communication. I mean, this is St. Louis. This isn't, I would expect maybe Phoenix out in the desert to have issues. But St. Louis? Come on. Springfield, Illinois, but it overlooks the St. Louis Arch. So apparently, the communications gear all around there laid all of hell, and the speedway was all but an abandoned racetracks compared. I mean, I think Rockingham probably has better infrastructure than St. Louis does, but that's just me being facetious. So their system is archaic, and with nationwide, MRN lost communication. And then the main offices there in Charlotte, where they go to break and do the Larry Mack thing, and they didn't have it. They couldn't communicate with the track. They still had it because Fox Sports could still communicate and keep the damn thing going. Well, we didn't have a feed going from the track. Why is it St. Louis? So, with nationwide broadcast including MRN radio, by the way, I heard that they had to start playing a bush race broadcast from the archives just to fill a little gap. And it's a good thing that they had that on hand to do, but it should not have happened. So you'd have to watch the story, by the way, on communications. Speaking of which, Michael Waltrip, he was in the infield doing the porch walk, the grid walk, the whatever, and he was scheduled to be up in the broadcast booth. And so, without a ride through a tunnel, as most of the guys do, Michael Waltrip took off through the infield, jumped over a few walls, and there somewhere by the starter stand, his phone disappeared. And it took them through searching through a little bit of video archives from the recent minutes. And we're going to get to the recent minutes of how the race started. But Michael Waltrip's phone, apparently a purple one, good job, Prince, fell out of his pocket without him knowing. He ran up to the broadcast booth, and the race started. Green flag, boogity boogity. And Michael Waltrip, not Daryl Waltrip, his phone was missing. So for the first 1.5 laps that ended up happening, Michael Waltrip's phone was there on the track, if you didn't catch this. And you're going to have to watch the whole story. Check it out on YouTube. Check it out on NASCAR.com. By the way, they got screwed by the whole fiber optics. But it's a funny story. It couldn't happen to a more goofballish than Michael Waltrip. Let's see. So where are we at? We only got to lap 1.5. It was just a precursor to what was about to happen for the first or second longest race day of the year so far. I'm talking about the Coca-Cola 600. But brakes were the story, and not because guys weren't using them. This next-gen car astounds me because it's reared its ugly head on so many forefronts. And the brakes, the rotors with the different tire setup, cannot last down long straightaways with hard braking. And this concerns me because even though we already saw it at Pocono last year, and we saw it at Gateway, can you imagine bringing back the Brickyard 400? Those long, hot straights, and then the hard braking that only goes down to about 170 miles per hour in those turns. But still, these brakes on the next gen car are yet to be tested on the Indy quad oval. I want it for 2004 or 2024, but this brake package is going to have to be fixed. And, you know, even Loudon, Loudon might not be the worst track for long straightaways where the brake ducts cool off the rotors and then get hot and then take off again. But obviously, Gateway proved this is an issue. It wasn't an issue in the trucks, but that's a 1,000% different package. So, what do we do about that? Well, we don't lay silent about it. Did you see the frickin' toward the end of Gateway? How many wrecks did we have? And the best part of the wrecks was that we didn't have to see Noah Gragson when he wrecked, when he took off his helmet and immediately put on a hat. And by the way, I'm wearing a K-Fan hat today. It's been a while. But Noah Gragson, we didn't have to see the kid and play whatevers. I'm getting so far off track, I haven't looked at the script in a while. The new car hasn't been tested yet at Indy, and that's going to be an issue with the brake system. So either way, the brake package was the headline for the weekend, and the truck's brake package was a no nothing. So, what's the plot? I guess we have yet to see. My favorite part is, though, the Noah Gragson thing. We didn't have to see kid and play. As far as the Xfinity race, it needs to go. As far as Portland, it was hardly wide enough to host a go-kart. I mean, too wide at Portland in a full-body stock car, forget about it. I was talking with some buddies, and they were saying that it's phenomenal as far as the moderate elevations and the passing zones. Well, guess what? IndyCar is not the freaking full-body stock car. That part's got to go. Turn it into a really long go-kart track. I might even show up to race. According to the racing buddies, so they think even go-karts at 110, 120 would be way too dangerous. So as far as full body stock cars, so either way, nah. Anyone notice that Ross Chastain isn't taking up the headlines the last couple of weeks? I mean, he was all I could talk about and avoid for quite a while. Sure, there was a generic shot by McDowell's spotter or crew chief saying you got Chastained. I don't think Chastain had a trouble moment. I mean, what was he? Average of 20-something? But it wasn't near what he has been going on. So I think the most blatant dumps were John Hunter Nemechek and Shelton Creed in the Busch Series, though, on that skinny ass track we call Portland. So that was, I mean, yeah, they got out and I think they were ready to defend themselves. but they're really just there to talk. But yeah, the headline as far as dumps, it was the brakes at St. Louis. So on to a triple header plus at Sonoma. We'll have all three main series, and I believe we'll also see a few of the, you know, the lesser divisions, the would-be's, the K&N West, also known as Arca West. There that weekend. So, I mean, it's going to be a big event. It's going to be, road course wise, but I still hate road course racing. But it will be the first time that we've seen a race without stage breaks since the inception of stage breaks. So that's kind of cool. Chase Elliott will be back. People booed the hell out of Denny Hamlin at Gateway because Chase got rightfully suspended. My bummer is they're a bunch of freaking hypocrites. Denny Hamlin is out there with his daughter getting booed, and I don't even know what to say to that. Had it not been Chase Elliott suspended, would they have booed Denny so hard? I don't know. But it was hilarious to see Carson Hocevar in the Corey LaJoy. I said that wrong. Corey LaJoy car, third rate car, ride along and pass LaJoy in Chase Elliott's first rate car. So, went to show Corey's political self isn't the only one that can milk the potential out of that number 7. Carson Hocevar did a great job until the brakes. One last thing about people who need to shut up and drive. Does anyone remember that? It was going out throughout the 2000s, and everyone was criticizing the Bodines, and I'd have to go digging, and I'm going to. Everyone's like, shut up and drive. Well, what about Corey LaJoy? Can't shut his ass up about politics. And then, now we got Kenny Wallace steps into the booth at St. Louis. Big deal. I can't stand his podcast. I can't stand Corey LaJoy's Stacking Pennies podcast. Why? Because they can't shut their mouth up about politics. And that's why Brandon Brown doesn't have a full-time ride, because of the whole, let's go Brandon. Just shut up and drive. Is that too much to ask? I know I'm pissing a few people off here right now, but leave the politics out of it and shut up and drive. So, yeah, Kenny Wallace was in the booth. Him and Michael Waltrip got to joke about the cell phone thing, and that's... I shouldn't even be bringing it up because now I'm giving them attention, but who cares? But they both can't leave the politics alone, so shut up and drive. And as the real school drivers, everyone says we needed to go back to the way it was. Well, the way it was shut up and drive. So let's get back together after the weekend, unless something new comes up, something new pops. NHRA had a crap weekend, and that was, they had a super hot 100-degree day on Friday, and then it got cold and rainy, like down to 50, 60 degrees on Saturday. And then by Sunday, they couldn't keep the track dry enough, the straight shoot, Epping. And where was I going with that? Oh, they did get the Mission Too Fast showdown, and it was the 20 cars, top wheelers, and everything. But what's going to happen to finish it all off, because those teams don't have the budget to stay in town, so they're going to finish it up this weekend at Bristol. So Thunder Valley, Epping is becoming historic, but I mean, come on, Bristol will always be beyond historic. So how do you choose? So we get finisher to Epping at Bristol. We get a full day, 2 or 3, or maybe it's 4. I think sometimes that Sonoma ends up being a 4-day weekend. They got a drag strip there too, but that's later this year for NHRA. So let's call it a wrap. I normally don't do a weekend follow-up, but this time I couldn't help it because a lot of results were up in the air. So I'm your host, Q. This is Speedway Anywhere, and let's do the damn thing.
Speedway Anywhere.
On Blog Talk Radio.
Your source for stock car, any car, or any car.
No matter how many wheels.